I sat alone at my promotion celebration rooftop bar reserved for 8 people, champagne chilling in silver buckets, panoramic view of the city lights spreading out like scattered diamonds below me. The table was set perfectly. White linens, fresh flowers, 8 crystal glasses catching the candlelight. But only one chair was occupied, mine. David texted an hour before. Emergency with the Riverside project. Client threatening to pull out. So sorry, baby. We'll celebrate tomorrow, I promise. Monica called 30 minutes later, voice tight with what sounded like tears. Emma, I'm so sorry. My mom fell. I'm at the hospital. I'll make this up to you, I swear. My team from work had excuses too. Food poisoning, car trouble, last-minute deadlines. One by one, they dropped like dominoes. 8 people, 8 different emergencies. All on the same Friday night that I finally made vice president at 35 years old. I should have been suspicious then. But I wasn't. I was just hurt. Marcus, the bartender who'd served us at this rooftop bar for the past 3 years, approached my table with that careful expression servers wear when they know something's wrong but aren't sure if they should say anything. He set down a fresh glass of champagne I hadn't ordered. On the house, he said quietly. Then, even quieter, Emma, can I talk to you for a second? Privately? That's when everything changed. Marcus led me behind the bar, glancing around to make sure no one was watching. He pulled out his phone, fingers hesitating over the screen. I don't know if I should show you this, he said. But if someone was doing this to my wife, I'd want to know. He turned the phone toward me. Security footage. Black and white, time-stamped from 2 hours ago. The hotel lobby, 14 floors below us. I watched David walk in, dressed in the navy suit I'd helped him pick out last month. He wasn't alone. Monica was with him, wearing the red dress she'd asked my opinion about yesterday, claiming she had a business dinner with potential investors. They weren't heading to the restaurant. They weren't going to the conference rooms. They walked straight to the elevators, and the way David's hand rested on the small of Monica's back, casual, familiar, possessive, made my stomach drop. There's more, Marcus said. They've been coming here every Friday for the past 2 months. Always around this time. Always to room 1147. The champagne in my stomach turned to acid. Every Friday. 2 months. That meant they'd been here last week when I was home cooking David's favorite dinner because he said he'd be working late at the office. They'd been here the week before that when Monica canceled our girls' night, claiming she had the flu. Why are you telling me this? My voice sounded strange, distant, like it belonged to someone else. Marcus's expression softened. Because 2 years ago, when my little sister needed a job after her ex cleaned out her bank account and disappeared, you hired her as your assistant. You didn't know her. You didn't owe us anything, but you gave her a chance when no one else would. She's still with your company, doing great. So yeah, I'm telling you this because you helped my family when we needed it most. I stared at the phone screen, watching the footage loop. David and Monica. Monica and David. My husband of 8 years. My best friend since college. My business partner. My maid of honor. My daughter, Lily's godmother. Can you send me that footage? I asked, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. Marcus nodded. Already sent it to your email. And Emma? There's something else you should know. My brother Alex, he's a private investigator. If you want answers, real answers, he's the best. He owes me a favor. I looked up at this man who was essentially a stranger, who had no reason to get involved in my mess, who was risking his job to tell me the truth no one else would. Why are you doing this? Because it's the right thing to do, Marcus said simply. And because I've watched you come here for 3 years. Every celebration, every milestone, you always made sure to thank me, remember my name, ask about my family. You treat people with respect. They don't. He glanced toward the ceiling, as if he could see through the floors to wherever David and Monica were. You deserve better than this. I left the rooftop bar without touching the champagne. Instead of going home, I drove to a 24-hour diner and sat in a corner booth with my laptop, watching the security footage over and over, looking for something that would make this make sense. Some detail that would prove I was wrong, that this was all a horrible misunderstanding. But I wasn't wrong. I thought about calling David, confronting him right there in that hotel room, screaming, crying, demanding answers. That's what the old Emma would have done. The Emma who believed in communication and trust and working through problems together. But a new voice in my head, cold and clear, whispered, "Don't show your hand until you've stacked the deck." It was something my mother used to say. She'd divorced my father after discovering he'd been embezzling from his business partners. She'd waited, gathered evidence, protected herself legally before making a move. I'd always thought it was calculating, almost cruel. Now I understood it was survival. I called Alex the next morning. We met at a coffee shop across town, somewhere David and Monica would never go. Alex looked like an older version of Marcus, same steady eyes, same straightforward manner. Marcus told me some of it. Alex said after I'd explained what I needed. "I'm sorry you're going through this. Let me be clear about what I do. I find the truth. Sometimes that truth is painful. Sometimes it's worse than you imagined. Are you sure you want to know?" "I need to know everything," I said. Alex nodded. "Okay. Give me 2 weeks." Those 2 weeks were the strangest of my life. I went to work every day, smiled at Monica across our shared office space, discussed client strategies and quarterly projections like nothing was wrong. I went home every night, kissed David hello, asked about his day, curled up next to him in bed like we were still the couple who'd met in graduate school and promised to build a life together. I was living in 2 realities simultaneously. In one, I was Emma the VP, Emma the wife, Emma the best friend. In the other, I was a stranger watching my life unravel in slow motion, waiting for Alex to tell me just how bad it really was. Monica seemed normal. We had lunch twice that week, and she talked about expanding our marketing firm, bringing on new clients. "With your VP connections now, we could really grow this thing," she said, eyes bright with excitement. "This could be our moment, Emma." David seemed normal too. He apologized again for missing my celebration, took me to dinner at an expensive restaurant, presented me with emerald earrings. "For my brilliant wife," he said, fastening them on me. "I'm so proud of you." The emerald earrings matched the necklace he'd given me on our wedding day. His grandmother's necklace, he'd said. A family heirloom passed down through generations. I'd worn it on every important occasion since then. Promotions, presentations, company galas. It was my good luck charm. I wore it to my first day as VP. Monica complimented it. "That necklace really brings out your eyes," she said. "David gave it to me," I replied, watching her face carefully. She didn't even flinch. "He has good taste." 2 weeks later, I met Alex again at the same coffee shop. He slid a manila envelope across the table. It was thick. "You're not going to like this," he said. I opened it. Inside were photographs, bank statements, email printouts, text message transcripts. I read through it all, very slowly, while Alex sat quietly and let me process. The affair had started 8 months ago, not 2. They'd been careful at first, meeting in different cities when Monica traveled for business development and David had site visits. But they'd gotten sloppy lately, comfortable, arrogant. The photographs showed them at restaurants, holding hands across candlelit tables, walking through parks, David's arm around Monica's shoulders, kissing in parking garages. One photo showed Monica wearing something that made my blood run cold, my emerald necklace. The family heirloom. She was wearing it in a picture taken 3 weeks ago at some resort I'd never been to. The bank statements revealed that David had been transferring money from our joint account, the one we'd built together over 8 years of marriage, into a new LLC. 5,000 here, 10,000 there. Small enough that I might not notice, large enough that it added up to over $200,000. The LLC was called Sterling and Associates Marketing Solutions. Documents showed Monica as co-founder. They were planning to start a competing firm using my money, my industry contacts, and my client relationships. But that wasn't even the worst part. The email transcripts showed their strategy. Monica had been systematically documenting every mistake I made at work, every missed deadline, every client complaint, no matter how minor. She was building a case to push me out of the business partnership we'd built together. The business I'd helped fund with my VP salary. And the text messages. God, the text messages. She actually believed me about my mom, Monica had written. "So gullible. I almost felt bad," David replied. "But then I remembered we're doing this for us. She'll be fine. Emma always lands on her feet. Do you think she suspects anything? Not a chance. She trusts us too much." There was more. Discussions about my supposed character flaws. Jokes about my work habits. Speculation about how much they could get in the divorce. Plans for their future together, a future that explicitly didn't include me in any capacity, professional or personal. They'd even discussed Lily, my 7-year-old daughter. Monica, who I'd chosen as godmother, who'd held Lily in the hospital when she was born, who I'd trusted with my child's emotional well-being. The messages showed they'd agreed Monica would step back from the godmother role gradually after the divorce because it would be too complicated. I sat in that coffee shop for an hour, reading through the evidence of how thoroughly I'd been betrayed. Not just by a cheating husband, not just by a backstabbing business partner, but by the two people I'd trusted most in the world, working together to systematically destroy my life while I smiled and thanked them for their support. "There's one more thing," Alex said gently. "Your mutual friends, the ones who canceled on your promotion celebration?" Monica contacted each of them separately. Told them you'd been acting erratic at work, that you were going through something personal and might say strange things, that it would be better to give you some space. She's been isolating you socially for weeks. That explained why Jennifer from accounting had been avoiding eye contact, why Tom from sales had stopped inviting me to Friday happy hours. They thought I was falling apart. Monica had made sure of it. "What do you want to do?" Alex asked. I looked at him across the table, this stranger who'd spent 2 weeks uncovering the truth I'd been too blind to see. "I want a lawyer," I said. "The best divorce attorney in the city. Someone who specializes in complex asset division and business partnerships." "I know someone," Alex said. "His name is James Chen. He doesn't lose." James Chen's office was all glass and steel and quiet confidence. He listened to my story without interrupting, reviewed Alex's evidence with the focused attention of a surgeon examining X-rays. "This is good," he finally said. "This is very good. Your husband violated your prenuptial agreement with the infidelity you keep the house, your separate assets, and you're entitled to half of everything he's accumulated during the marriage. The unauthorized transfer of funds from your joint account is even better. We can argue financial abuse, and the business partnership with Monica. That's breach of fiduciary duty. She's been using your shared company resources to build a competing business while systematically trying to push you out. We can destroy her." "I don't want to destroy anyone," I said. "I just want justice." James smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. "Mrs. Sullivan, justice and destruction often look very similar. The question is, how far are you willing to go?" I thought about 8 empty chairs at a rooftop bar. I thought about my emerald necklace around Monica's throat. I thought about them laughing over text messages about how gullible I was. "As far as it takes," I said. The plan took 3 weeks to put together. James filed for divorce quietly, but didn't serve David the papers yet. Instead, I did something that felt almost theatrical in its precision. I invited both of them to the rooftop bar. Same place as my failed promotion celebration. I told David it was a surprise romantic dinner to make up for what we'd missed. I told Monica it was an important business meeting about our expansion plans, that I'd arranged for us to meet a potential investor. I arrived first, exactly at 7. The table was set for 3 this time. Marcus was working the bar. And when he saw me walk in, he gave me a subtle nod. David arrived at 7:15, dressed in his best suit, carrying roses. He looked confused when he saw the table set for 3 instead of 2, but kissed me anyway. "Who else is coming?" "Just wait," I said. Monica walked in at 7:30, briefcase in hand, professional smile in place. The smile froze when she saw David. I watched them both realize, in real time, that they'd been caught. "Sit down," I said calmly. "Both of you." They didn't move. Monica's face had gone white. David's mouth opened and closed like he was trying to form words but couldn't remember how. I said, "Sit down," I repeated, and something in my voice must have convinced them because they did. Marcus appeared with 3 glasses of champagne. He set them down without a word and disappeared. "I know everything," I said. "The affair, the LLC, the money you stole from our account, the plan to push me out of the business, the lies you told our friends. Everything." Monica found her voice first. "Emma, it's not we can explain." "No," I said. "You don't get to explain. You don't get to tell me how this is somehow a misunderstanding or how I'm overreacting. You don't get to gaslight me anymore." I pulled out a folder from my bag, copies of everything Alex had found. I slid it across the table. "This is over. Both of you. David, you'll be served with divorce papers on Monday. You violated our prenup, so I keep the house and you get nothing but half the debt from your failed LLC. Monica, I'm buying you out of the business. I had James draft the papers. You have two choices. Sell me your half at fair market value, or I report you to the Bar Association for breach of fiduciary duty and drag you through a lawsuit that will destroy your reputation in this industry. Either way, you're out. David finally spoke. Emma, please. We made a mistake. We never meant to hurt you. You didn't mean for me to find out, I corrected. That's different from not meaning to hurt me. You meant every bit of this. You planned it. You executed it. You just didn't plan on Marcus showing me security footage of you walking into a hotel together. Monica's eyes flew to Marcus behind the bar. He was calmly polishing glasses, not looking our way. You spent 8 months lying to me, I continued. You used my money to fund your escape plan. You turned my friends against me. You wore my grandmother's necklace. My voice broke slightly there, but I pushed through. You wore my necklace while you were sleeping with my husband. It wasn't like that, Monica whispered. Then what was it like? I asked. Please, tell me. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like the two people I loved most in the world decided I was disposable. That I was useful until I wasn't. That my feelings, my marriage, my business, my life, none of it mattered as much as whatever you two have together. Neither of them had an answer to that. I would have done anything for either of you, I said. David, when your mother died, I took 2 weeks off work to plan the funeral because you couldn't function. Monica, when you needed capital to expand the business, I mortgaged my house to get you that money. When you were sick, when you were scared, when you needed someone, I was there. Always. And this is how you repay me? We fell in love, David said quietly. You can't help who you love. I almost laughed. You're right. You can't help who you love. But you can help what you do about it. You could have told me. You could have been honest. You could have ended our marriage with some dignity instead of making me sit alone at a table meant for 8 people, wondering what I did wrong to deserve being abandoned on one of the best nights of my life. Marcus appeared again, this time with something in his hand. An envelope. This arrived for you, Mrs. Sullivan, he said, handing it to me with a slight smile. I opened it. Inside was a single piece of paper, the deed to the house, with David's signature already notarized, transferring full ownership to me. James had worked fast. You already signed? David said, confused. I didn't sign anything. You signed it last week, I said, when James presented it as paperwork for refinancing the mortgage. You didn't read it very carefully, did you? You were too busy texting Monica about meeting up later. I watched the realization hit him. He'd been outmaneuvered completely. Monica stood up suddenly, knocking her chair backward. This is insane. You can't just. I can, I said. And I am. James already spoke to our company's board of directors. I showed them the evidence of what you were planning. They've frozen your access to company accounts pending investigation. You'll be formally removed as partner by end of business Monday. You vindictive. Careful, I interrupted. Everything you say right now can and will be used in the lawsuit I file if you don't take the buyout. James is recording this conversation with my permission, which is legal in this state. In case you were wondering. Monica grabbed her briefcase and left without another word. I could hear her heels clicking frantically across the floor, rushing toward the elevators. David stayed. He was crying now, tears running down his face into his collar. Emma. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll end it with Monica. I'll do whatever you want. David, I said gently. I want you to leave. I want you to sign the divorce papers when they're served. I want you to move out of our house by the end of the week. And then I want you to build whatever life you're planning with Monica, and I want you to never contact me again unless it's about Lily. Do you understand? He nodded, still crying, and left. I sat alone at the table for 3. The champagne Marcus had brought was still untouched. I picked up my glass and walked over to the bar. Thank you, I said to Marcus. For everything. He smiled. You did this yourself. I just showed you what was already there. Still. Thank you. What will you do now? He asked. I looked out at the city lights, the same view I'd had 6 weeks ago when I sat alone at my promotion celebration. But this time, I didn't feel abandoned. I felt free. I'm going to rebuild, I said. The business, my life, all of it. And I'm going to do it better than before. Because this time I know exactly who I can trust. The divorce took 3 months. David didn't contest anything. He moved in with Monica, and according to mutual acquaintances, they were very happy together. I didn't care. They weren't my problem anymore. The business buyout took longer. Monica fought it initially, but once James started the formal investigation into her breach of fiduciary duty, she took the settlement. I bought her out for fair market value, which meant I now owned 100% of a marketing firm that had doubled in size since I became VP. My first order of business as sole owner was hiring a new events coordinator. I chose Marcus. He'd been wanting to transition out of bartending anyway, and he had a natural talent for reading people and situations. Plus, I trusted him. That meant something. 6 months after that night at the rooftop bar, I was back there again. But this time, the table was set for 8, and all 8 chairs were full. My team from work. My real friends, the ones who'd believed me when I explained what Monica had done, who'd stood by me through the divorce. Alex and his wife. Marcus and his sister, my assistant who'd become a dear friend. We were celebrating the firm's best quarter ever. We were celebrating my successful navigation of a divorce that could have destroyed me. We were celebrating survival. To Emma, Tom from sales said, raising his glass, for proving that nice people don't always finish last. To Emma, everyone echoed. I smiled and raised my glass too. To all of us, I said. To truth, to justice, and to the family we choose. Later, after everyone had left and I was getting ready to go, Marcus approached me one last time. I have something for you, he said, pulling out a small velvet box. Inside was my emerald necklace, the one Monica had stolen. Where did you? David pawned it a month ago, Marcus said. Needed money fast, I guess. The pawn shop owner is a friend of mine. I bought it back for you. I stared at the necklace, this thing that had meant so much to me, that had been tainted by betrayal. How much do I owe you? Nothing, Marcus said. Consider it payment for giving my sister a job when she needed one. We're even. I clasped the necklace around my neck. It felt different now. Not like a symbol of David's love or family tradition, but like a symbol of reclaiming what was mine. Taking back my power, my identity, my life. Thank you, Marcus, I said. He smiled. Thank you for trusting me that night when I showed you the footage. A lot of people would have shot the messenger. Never, I said. You told me the truth when no one else would. That's not something I'll ever forget. I left the rooftop bar that night wearing my grandmother's necklace, carrying a promotion I'd earned, running a business I'd built, and living a life that was entirely my own. No lies, no betrayal, just the truth. Hard and painful and ultimately freeing. David and Monica got married a year later. I heard about it through friends. I felt nothing. They were strangers to me now. Characters in a story about someone else's life. Lily adjusted well to the divorce. She was young enough that the custody arrangement every other weekend with David felt natural. She liked Marcus and often asked if he could come to her school events. He's nice, Mommy, she'd say. He asks good questions. 2 years after that night at the rooftop bar, I was promoted again. Chief Marketing Officer. Corner office. 20% raise. I celebrated at a different restaurant this time, somewhere new with no memories attached. But I sent Marcus a thank you card. Because none of it would have been possible if he hadn't had the courage to show me the truth that night. Sometimes the best thing someone can do for you is show you what's really happening, I'd written. Thank you for being brave enough to do that. Thank you for believing I deserved better. You were right. He sent one back. It said, you always deserved better. I just helped you see it. The rest was all you. I kept that card in my desk drawer, next to a photograph from my second celebration at the rooftop bar, the one where all 8 chairs were full. I looked at it sometimes when work got hard, when I questioned my decisions, when I wondered if I'd done the right thing. The answer was always yes. I had done the right thing. I'd chosen myself. I'd chosen truth over comfortable lies. I'd chosen justice over staying silent. And in the end, that choice had given me back everything they tried to take: my business, my dignity, my life, only better, stronger, and entirely mine. The emerald necklace sits in my jewelry box now. I don't wear it often, but when I do, it doesn't remind me of David or his grandmother or family traditions that turned out to be lies. It reminds me of the night I sat alone at a table meant for 8, discovered the truth, and decided that I was worth fighting for. That's a memory worth keeping.